Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video about the upcoming pattern. The upcoming pattern looks, it looks pretty warm, in the south, southeast, and the eastern US. That doesn't mean snowstorms are going to stop. It's going to be actually very active because of that warm air. The storms are going to be supercharged. There looks to be some heavy precipitation events. The western US looks to be just absolutely slammed by heavy storms off the Pacific, and then that will kind of convert into the eastern and towards the eastern U.S. So active pattern, chances for snowstorms on the rise, and we'll be all talking about that in today's video. So please consider subscribing to this channel. Please consider liking this video. It really means a lot to me, and it really helps this channel grow. So that would be awesome if you could like the video and subscribe, and leave a nice comment as well. So let's get into this. Right now we're looking at the GFS. Let's take it back to hour 6, and let's take this out one by one. I'll show you the European as well. So notice we have an Alberta clipper coming from the north, some decent snowfall across Michigan, UP of Michigan, Wisconsin, interior parts of the northeast, again up to 2 inches possibly, maybe in the lake effect there could be a little bit more lake enhanced areas, if you will. Otherwise it looks pretty moisture deprived. That's not the main system, that's just a small one. This nor'easter that we thought could have been occurring several days ago doesn't seem to be occurring as well. It seems as if the models kind of diminished some of the chances of this system. You can see right there, it is across West Virginia, and this system really takes it off the coast. I mean, maybe if the system moves closer to shore, we could see a little bit of snow for New York, the coastal areas, Long Island, Cape Cod. 1 to 3 inches, so that would be nice. And then notice it really starts developing across Nova Scotia and those areas. If you live in those areas of Canada, which I know I do have some viewers from there, you'll get quite a bit of snow out of that. Notice there isn't much cold air, but there is some. Right there we have another, I guess you want to call this a system. This is kind of like the first wave of the system. Thursday things start getting active. Up until Wednesday, not much activity. Notice there could be a little bit of snow across Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, DC, so that's pretty interesting. Excited for you guys. You haven't seen much snow. This isn't going to be a huge amount, just a light dusting, possibly to an inch or two. Still, it's snow, and you'll take it, in any form. Notice that for the snow lovers at least, that is. Notice that we have a little buckle right here, right there across Nebraska. This is going up to Sioux Falls, Sioux City area, and this kind of sets the stage for another development of a storm. Notice we have rain all the way up to the Canadian border. Really not much snow with this first wave of this system, but then we start getting a reorganization right here to the south, and this is where things start getting interesting. So notice that there's just huge amounts of precip coming around the country, coming from the Gulf of Mexico. Watch this right here. Look at that. It's just coming from the Gulf of Mexico, originates from the Pacific, so this has tons of moisture to work with. Notice this could definitely have potential. If this were, I guess, a different model run, this is a week out, so we have a lot of things to get sorted out. But notice that some of the other model ensemble members were showing some heavier snow on the backside right here. So across even the Chicago area, northern Illinois, if you live in these locations, which I know I have quite a bit of viewers that have been complaining about the lack of snow, I wouldn't say that this is really a good chance at this point. I would say it's definitely something to monitor, as this could turn out to be a decent storm for this area if things go as planned by some of the ensembles. Now, does it look like it as of now? No, but at the same time, this is next Saturday, so ways away. And things are definitely going to get sorted out. Notice that this storm has tons of moisture, so if that rain to snow transition would occur, it would definitely be a doozy of a snowstorm. It would be probably, one of the it would be a panhandle storm, panhandle low, and that's when it originates from across, the panhandle areas of Texas and Oklahoma, and kind of swoops across these locations, which gives heavy snow across these parts. Except you can see that this weather model in particular isn't really keeping a lot of the snow across the Illinois, Michigan area. It just keeps it as mainly rain across the southern U.S. and just not much precip at all over those areas. So at least you wouldn't be getting rain, that much, at least that much. But notice that just the precip amount amounts are huge. This would just be very, very exponential amounts of rain, just really heavy rain across these locations. Notice we get a stripe of snow across Ohio, Indiana, and into Canada, and then that moves off. But that's definitely a storm to watch, as the potential is definitely there. Notice then we see a little bit of a break Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we start seeing another storm rise. We see some very heavy precip across the southern U.S. This is very concerning, as they've already seen very heavy rain. And then notice, look at that, we get another system. Now this one has been showing in the weather models for a very long time, and it's been all over the place, so I'm not even going to forecast the exact details of this. I'm just saying there's a possibility of a large system around this time frame, about 1 week and a half out. You may be thinking, wow, that is way too far out, but sometimes models can predict a storm this far out, predict that it's going to occur, not that the details. I mean, the details of the storm, I'm not going to go over it, but you can see it's another potential storm, followed by much colder air, chillier air around the 15th, and then we get a little bit of a warm-up and just more storms. That's the thing. It looks pretty active, and even if it's gonna be rain or snow for you, it just looks as if it's gonna be stormy. And at this point, this far out, there's no chance we can predict whether it's going to be rain or snow for you, as that's just near to impossible. Notice, though, we get more precip rising from the Gulf of Mexico in a giant Pacific snowstorm storm around the 21st. Again, some more chances. Let's look at some of the other models. Let's look at the Canadian model. This Canadian model has been a relatively good job. Again, it's one of the three models that I look at the most, the GFS, European, and Canadian. And really, that's only three models that are really worthy of looking at in the longer range, which even in the short range, up to 5 days, I look at these the most. And then we start getting into the higher resolution models. Notice the Canadian actually puts out a pretty nice system across the Northeast, across this Wednesday, Tuesday. Will this occur? It's tough to say. I'm not really buying this Canadian scenario of this nor'easter-like system. You can see this would bring some light to moderate snow across the coastal areas. I'm not really sure about that, but I guess this Canadian thinks that it will. Notice this is again that system that is moisture loaded for the southern U.S. and look, it brings out a nice, really curved system across the Illinois, Michigan area, and possibly transition that to snow. This is very far out, and these details will have to be pinned. For now, it would be, according to this model, rain, but it looks as if there is some threat for snow. I would just say if you're in these locations, you've been having a snow drought, especially the further south you go. I would say you have to monitor the storm. I will be definitely monitoring it. There could be some potential for some heavier snow definitely on the way. And then even if that doesn't really occur in your wanted fashion, again, there's going to be more systems on the way that are going to be developing. You could see one right there. So it's safe to say that these storms are going to be plentiful at the very least. Let's look at the European model. You can see that the European model, I actually want to show you last night's, the midnight model run. I'll show you the newer one as well. But let's look at the older one, and you can see that this isn't really the surface precipitation. This is 500 millibar geopotential height. And let's just look what it does with the low pressure. So notice very, very progressive pattern, ups and downs, relatively, though, staying chillier in the west and warmer in the east. Notice that there could be a storm right here across Friday, January 10th, like that first phase that the GFS showed with that rain all the way up to the Canadian border. And then this is where the other storm comes across. You can see this is the midnight one, and it showed 1,000 millibar right there, a classic panhandle low for these portions of the country. This would deliver some pretty substantial amounts of snow for the Illinois, Michigan, Indiana area. Now, it has changed since then slightly, but again, the possibility of change back is just great at this point, as it's very far out. So let's look at the midnight model one, and I want to show you why I found it so intriguing. Notice that if you were to look at this, again, we have this Alberta Clipper right here, very moisture deprived, some light snow across the Northeast. But then we see again the European, this was the midnight one, showed more snow across the Northeast. Now it has backed off ever since then, and I think rightly so, as it just doesn't look too big of a system. But we'll still have to monitor, maybe some slight potential for some snow. Notice that passes through, we get that first wave of this storm, gets all the way to the Canadian border, some light to moderate rain, and then we see the second wave. Notice this wave would be Very, very impressive. Look at that. Potentially a nice curved low system, delivering some moderate to very heavy snow across the Illinois and Michigan area. And again, the potential remains. As I mentioned, the potential has now shifted, but look at that, another storm following after that, and possibly another one brewing right there. So, it looks very active and stormy, but again, the snowstorm that's across the Illinois area has ever so shifted a little bit, but that's basically, you can't really look at that and say, oh, it has shifted, the chances are gone. Again, it's very far out, and things look to be changed. It may not even occur at all, really, to the intensity that it's showing. Look at the European latest model run. You can see a little bit of snow across West Virginia and Virginia, but then across the New York State, it just takes it off, or across the East Coast, it just takes it off coast. So, unfortunately, it seems like if this one is going to be a bust again, but there will definitely be more chances. But look at that, it really goes off across Nova Scotia. So that's what the Mother Nature tried taking it, or wanted to take it. Notice again, we have that first wave of the storm on Friday, Thursday, and then look at that, we see that system yet again. The European shows it, just doesn't really connect the system as well as it did the first time around in terms of the snow potential. There's a little bit of snow, some lighter to heavier snow right there, a potential second wave, and the storm's still there. It's not the same potential as I had earlier. Now, will this change? Yes, for sure. And may it change it back to that heavier snow scenario? I think it very has a well chance to, equally as high of a chance as just staying all snow or all rain. So definitely stay tuned. Many snowstorms are on the way, many snow potential. So thank you guys so much for watching, and consider liking the video, consider subscribing to the channel. I'll catch you all guys on the next episode. See ya. Bye.